Hello again. I think just about all chess players would agree that the position that we have in front of us, looking at the material, we would expect the game to end in a draw. When you look at it, just take a closer look and just make absolutely sure what is on the board there. Black, in fact, is slightly ahead in material because a rook is worth 5 plus a knight worth 3. That's 5 plus 3 is 8. The two bishops worth 3 each, that's 6, plus a pawn 1, 6 plus 1 is 7. So black has it 8-7. However, that is meaningless. What is important here, as has been demonstrated in a variety of positions on my YouTube channel, is that it does depend absolutely on the layout of the position. And so what exactly is going on in this position? We need to establish, does white have winning chances? Does black have winning chances, or is it a draw? Well, what must be said is that if it were black's move, of course, he could force the draw by taking the bishop. The king would take back, black would take the pawn on g7, and then it would be a king and a bishop against a king and a knight. That would be an absolute draw. And even if black lost the knight, a king and a bishop alone is not enough. However, black might have other chances as well, but it is white's move. So what is the key move here? There is one move to do it. Just the one. Can you see it? It looks as though white is sort of blocking himself a little bit here around this, but he can quickly unleash a powerful attack. How does he do it? Well, congrats to anyone who's seen it. Yes, it's bishop f3. That is the only bishop move that will win this game. What is white suggesting now to black? Well, what he's suggesting at once is that bishop d5 checkmate is the threat. He's also saying to black, your rook is under attack. Now, ordinarily, black would come here to stop bishop d5, but he'd quickly lose his rook. So that doesn't work. So what else does he have? If he checks here, of course, the bishop nicely would capture the rook. This is the layout of the position to which I'm constantly referring. So what does black have with his rook? We'll look at black's knight's moves last in all of this. The king has no move. He's stuck there for the moment. So what else does black have with his rook that would stop bishop d5 mate? Well, he has this. Now, of course, that's fine. It stops bishop d5 well enough, but we can take it, can't we? We can take that. Now, what many would fall into here, of course, is taking with the king, like that, because we want to keep our bishop on that diagonal so that it can move to d5. The only problem with that is, of course, we let black in with taking the pawn on g7. And if you look at that position, that is a dead draw. There is no way that white can secure a win out of that position. It would not be possible. It just wouldn't. So that needs to be avoided. So with that in mind, the only alternative, this is after bishop f3, rook h5, is to take with the bishop. So the bishop is sort of somewhat wasting its time there, isn't it? Or is it? Well, no, it isn't, because if you now look at this position, should black play knight f8, like that, well, all that white needs to do is to take that knight with the pawn and either queen it or rook it, and that's checkmate. Should the knight come here, not a problem again, because we just take like that, and black has a flight square, and white would quickly win that game by means of that and then queening the pawn. So that just doesn't work either. So, by a process of elimination, after bishop f3, rook h5, bishop takes h5, the only move that he has is that. So, what does white do here? Bearing in mind what I said before, moving the king away from that pawn, black can take it. Is that a problem to us? Is that a problem? Well, the problem now, of course, is that if you try something like this and you're heading for there, don't forget, black could play that. And then if you tried this, it's stalemate. We have to be on our guard for moves like that. That will be the problem. So, with all of that in mind, again, after bishop f3, rook h5, bishop takes h5, knight g5, a surprise move we take here. And we remember, of course, that a king and two bishops can deliver checkmate against a lone king. So we let him take this. Clearly he has to, otherwise we'd guard it and we'd then be able to queen it. So what happens now? Well, that's right, we fix him to the spot, and then he only has two choices there. He can either go king g8 or king h8. What happens if he goes here? How do we deal with this? Well, we just play king h6. And you see he's forced into the corner, yeah? What happens now? Just take a good look at that. Just take a good look at it. Well, all that we need to do is to drop this bishop back. And he's forced to go here. We put him in check, like that. He's forced to go back, and that is checkmate. Nicely done, is it not? So let's just go back for a moment and see what happens if he moves to h8. That is the starting position. We play here, he goes here. We take with the bishop. He puts his knight on g5. We take it. He takes the pawn. And we play here. Now he goes to h8. Do we deviate from the previous analysis? No, we still play king h6 and he goes here. You have to be very careful here. So how do you deal with this? The bishop is here, by the way. How do you deal with that? It's not that straightforward. If you drop the bishop back this time, he has a flight square. So what you need to do is to play for time. You play here, or e7 would be okay. He has to go into the corner. So what do you do now? Right, well now you drop the bishop back. You see, we're repeating the first variation if you think about it. Check. He's now forced back into the corner. And that's how you get him with a king and two bishops against the lone king. You had to force him into the corner and cover all the key squares. So we've eliminated the replies with black's rook. So what about if he moves the knight? That is the starting position again. In what is a very interesting study, we go here. So what do we do here? Well, clearly, if he plays his knight here, check, a knight here, checkmate. So that wouldn't be any good. And of course, if he plays his knight there, we simply promote to either queen or a rook, like I said in the other variation, and that is an immediate checkmate. So he only has one move, that's after bishop f3 with his knight, and that is to play it to there. So what do? We can't play bishop d5, you notice there. That's the whole idea of that. We take his rook. We take his rook. Now, black is not in Tutzwang here. He's not in Tutzwang at all, because he can move and he can save the game. How does he do it? Well, all that he needs to do is to play there. And if you notice, if you take this knight, stalemate. So you don't touch the knight, just move the bishop, either g2 or f3. You could even get away with moving the dark squared bishop, but you're offering it to him, knowing that he can't afford to take it, because if he does, check, knight interposes, takes checkmate. So that does not work. So where can he go here? If he goes back this time, you just take here and black has a flight square and you'd easily win it. You could probably win it the same way that I'm about to demonstrate, but we'll play here his only other square to cover d5. So what do? Well, I've already put a few problems on my YouTube channel where you swing the piece over to the other side. So let's do it. Swing it there. Now, he is in Tutzwang. If he didn't have to move here, he'd be safe. But he does have to move. No matter where he moves that knight, you're going to play bishop d5 one way or the other. If he plays his knight into d5, you take it and you win. If he plays it over here, here, any of these squares, that is checkmate. And that is quite an instructive problem. And I do hope that you've managed to get something out of that one. Again, to reiterate, the layout of the position is the all-important factor in all of this. Enjoy your chess, as always, and goodbye for now.